welcome back. My name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury makeup. And today I finally have with me the Danessa Myricks Twin Flames. So these are the liquid multi-chrome shadows that she came out with. I actually ordered these December 1st, and I know some other people have posted about this too, but I ordered directly from her website. It took me a very long time, like over 3 weeks, to get these, and they're here now. So I have been testing them, and I do have a wear test to show you without any primer or anything on my lids. And then today what I have on is actually the Danessa Myricks Color Fix underneath. And this is, serving as a base. So let's go ahead and get started with some product information. This is the box style that it comes in. You have a color-coded top, and the box itself comes wrapped in plastic as well, so you can be sure that when you're opening the box, it is a brand new product. So one thing that I didn't realize until just a minute ago is these are designed in the US, but they're made in China. And I try not to buy items made in China, not any items, but make cosmetic and skincare items made in China. And so I have to say, I'm a little disappointed. I literally just found out reading the box, but I also just realized that the Color Fix that I love is also designed in the US and made in China. So to say I am a little disappointed, and yeah, I love these things. So I'm still going to use them, but yeah, that is something that I have to consider. So if that's something that you look into, you might want to consider that before making a purchase. So as I mentioned, I picked up 5 shades. These are 2.5 milliliters or 0.085 ounces each. They retail for $26, and there are 10 shades. I picked up 5 of them. So these are the ones I picked up, and let's go ahead and do some swatches. Let's start off with the packaging. So this is plastic. It's got a hexagonal shape to it, so it's not going to roll around. You do have a color-coded bottom, and inside we have a doe foot applicator. So this first shade here, I mean, just looking at the wand, you can kind of see a bit of the color shift. And I have to say the color shift does not come off as strongly on camera as it does in person. It really depends a lot on the angle. This first shade is Amour. And look at that. So you can see that this is going to be like white, and you've got some like violet and blue shift to it. And depending on what lighting, sometimes the blue looks more like an electric blue, and other times you see a lot more of a bright violet shade. And you can definitely see that white base in there. She actually has quite a few of these ones that have more of this white base to use for accent. These products can be used on the eyes, lips, cheeks, I think lips, I have to double check that, but anywhere on the face essentially. And they are completely eye safe. And I actually did test them in my waterline as well, and I had no irritation. Next, we have Soulmate. And here in the container, you can see like purple and more of like a minty green. When you look at the wand, depending on how you hold it, you have more of a green or an aqua shade. So this is Soulmate. Look at that shift there. I could stare at these all day. So Soulmate I have on the inner corner of my eyes today. And then next up we have Sweetheart. And this one reminded me the most of the Natasha Denona Scarab shade, which I love. So I had to pick this one up. But you can see that this has more of a emerald green in it. It's not quite as warm toned. And I will do a swatch comparison of those in a few minutes. And next we have True Love. And this one has blues and purples in it. I mean, look at that. See, right now I'm seeing like a bright violet, and then this goes to like a royal blue. It's really pretty. That was actually like a shade category that I felt was missing from the Natasha Denona ones. I felt like all of her purpley ones were more purple pinks, more warm toned. And Danessa Myricks has more cooler tone options. And this last one here is Adore You. There we go. So this one, you've got more purple and pink mixed in it. And you can see that this one is more of like that, it's more of a deeper violet purple. All right, so here we go. I'm going to do a couple swatch comparisons of the Natasha Denona Chromium ones that I have. And I believe there were 5 shades of this that were released. They are technically limited edition. And if I recall correctly, these retail for $28. They are the same size as the Danessa Myricks, both 2.5 milliliters. However, these are made in Italy. So I have 2 of these. I have Infra Nude. And I'm going to put that one, well, we'll just put this one down here. And you can see that Infra Nude, you know, this formula itself can be a little bit more sheer if you want it to be, especially with this color combination. This is more of a copper shade, and you've got some like rosy accents to it and a little bit of green as well. And then Scarab, I'm gonna put Scarab here on the side so that we can compare it to the Danessa Myricks. So you can see that the Natasha Denona are more sheer to begin with. And you can see that Scarab definitely has more yellow, more of like a yellow gold in that green compared to the Danessa Myricks. Let's take a look at the brush application and wear test of these shadows, and then I'll meet you back here. We are going to start with Adore You, and this is the Esom V35 brush. I'm just going to add a little bit of this to the outer portion here and kind of dab this in. And now I'm dragging this kind of into the crease a little bit. I think there's just a tiny bit more in the other eye, so I'm just adding the smallest amount here just to make this part a little bit more molten. And then I'm going to go in with True Love on the rest of the eye here. So I'm leaving a tiny bit of the inner corner, and I'm just kind of adding this onto the overlap area. Okay, so this is it so far, and now I'm going to add something for the inner corner highlight. And we are going to add Amore, which is one of the more like white iridescent shades. So it's got like some blue and some purple, and I'm just going to add the tiniest bit right there in the center. Wow, you can see how blue that is now. So this is what the wand looks like after dabbing it on top. So you can see I got a little transfer from the other shade, but nothing major. Now let's line under the eyes. I'm using the Esom V09 and True Love. So just gonna get a little bit of this on here and go under the eyes with this. Wow, that's a little bit more than I was planning. So I wiped off the brush, and now I'm just gonna kind of smudge that to the inner corner. So you can see I have a little bit on the inner rim there. I'm gonna go ahead and do that all over and just kind of see how it wears there. So just out of curiosity. have to say it doesn't feel irritating, like my eyes aren't starting to water from it or anything like that. They are, you can see a little bit, but most of that's from contact. Okay, so these are the eyes. I'm just gonna add some mascara and I will show you a distance shot. I did go in with the Surratt Liquid Black Eyeliner and just did a line right along the upper lashes. And this is the eye look from a distance. So I think it looks really cool. I'm really enjoying it so far. So we're going to do a wear test on this today and see how well they hold up. I did not use any primer. The rest of the products on my face, I have the Kojendo Moisture Foundation in 012, the Kjaer Weis Cream Blush in Blossoming, along with the Rituel de Fille Cream Highlighter in Ice Bow. And on my lips, I have the Pat McGrath Done Undone Lip Liner with the new Dior 100 New Look Matte Lipstick. And that is everything. So I will see you in a few hours. It has been 4.5 hours since I applied everything. This is actually the same lipstick that I applied 4.5 hours ago, but it did start to wear off. So I topped it off with one of the Sisley lip glosses, the number 8 Milky Way. And you can see that it really just kind of made a more of a satin version of the New Look lipstick. So I really like that. But this is what the eyeshadow looks like. And let me bring you in closer. So these are the eyes up close, and I do not have primer on today. And you can see that there is like a crease line, and that line, it's not going all the way through to my skin, so I don't see skin through it, but it's more like bunching of pigment right in the crease area. And I noticed that about an hour after application, and it has gotten to this point. So I noticed it's starting about an hour in, and this is what it looks like now. So it's not like progressing quickly or anything, but still there is that line. You see it like right here. And yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's kind of how it's wearing in the crease area. And we'll have to try this out with some primer, or actually maybe the Danessa Myricks Color Fix as well. So we'll see how this goes. Just wanted to show you how it has worn in the waterline. So you can actually still see it in the waterline. I didn't have any irritation or anything from it. And you can see there's like no fallout or anything. So aside from the crease area, everything is holding up really well. It has now been 9 hours since I applied everything. This is what it looks like from a distance. And let's move you in closer. So these are the eyes up close. And as you can see, there's definitely some creasing. The creasing has become more pronounced, and it's really more just that whole area in the crease. It has faded a lot, and you can see it's definitely pretty noticeable. Transfer wise, these aren't transferring much. I do have a little bit of transfer now that it has, some of my natural oils are poking through, but up until this point, I was able to like touch my eyes, and I only did it for testing purposes, but I was not getting any transfer until just now. So overall, the shadows have held up well, but not as well as some other ones that I have used like this, such as the Natasha Denona Chromium shadows. So we'll discuss those in just a minute. So as you can see from the wear test on these shadows, they do have some creasing. They do not hold up quite as well as the Natasha Denona liquid chromiums do. For those, I really have no issues all day. So they look just as fresh 8 hours later as they do when you first apply them. So I think the Natasha Denona ones do hold up a little bit better. However, I did want to try it with the Danessa Myricks Color Fix underneath. So let me show you the application of that, and then I'm going to meet you back here and we're going to talk about some details of these shadows. Today we're going to start off with the Danessa Myricks Color Fix, and we're using the shade Trooper, which is kind of this grungy grayish brown shade. So I'm just taking some on my finger here, and I'm just going to put this on as a base here. And I'm going to use a brush to finish that off. Taking the Esom V29 and just gonna kind of smear this out a little bit. So I'm just getting a touch more on the brush tip, and I'm just gonna brush this in a little bit more. This is gonna act as a base product for me today, and I'm going to use more of an all over color, so thought this would be better. Taking what's left on my hand and the Esom V27, and I'm going to go under my eyes with this. All right, so this is what's left on my hand, and you can kind of see the color better here. You can see that it's like gray with a brown base to it. Next, we're gonna go in with the Twin Flames in Sweetheart, which is a greenish yellow shade. Going back in with the V27 with this, just gonna kind of tap that a little bit in the crease area. And I'm just getting a little bit on my finger here to go over that. So this is Sweetheart on the lid, and just want to add a little bit of Soulmate, which is kind of a minty green, to the inner corner. So this one is Soulmate, and you can see looking at the wand that you have more of this like aqua green, and then when I swatch it, it actually looks a bit more minty, and you can see some like purple in here as well. So I'm taking the Esom V31, and I'm just going to get a little bit here and add this in. And I'm taking the Chantecaille eyeliner in Raven, and I'm just going to smudge this along the lash line. This is just a plain black. And so this is my eye look up close. So as you can see, between the brush application and the finger application of these liquid shadows, finger application is definitely going to get you more pigment. You're going to see a brighter color and so forth. Now, if you look at the Danessa Myricks website, she recommends applying these either with a brush or a finger. And then if you want it to be shinier, she sells a glaze, like a clear glaze, or I think there are some other shades of the glaze as well in these Color Fix formulas. I don't have that, but she does recommend putting that on top. And perhaps that helps with longevity, I don't know. But regardless, whenever I apply these liquid shadows, whether I use a primer, no primer, or I use the Color Fix as a base, I still do end up with creasing of the pigment. And you know, it's not terrible. These never turn into a super creasy mess or anything. I can take my finger and tap it out, but it is something worth noting because the Natasha Denona ones do not do that to me. Now, as you can tell with me purchasing 5 of these right off the bat, I had very, very high hopes. And that is partly because I have fallen so in love with these Color Fix shadows. I mean, these are incredible as a base or whatever. There's really no fallout. I think they are a fantastic product. So I had really high hopes for the Twin Flames. And I do like the Twin Flames. And I have to say I was very impressed when I used it on my waterline that you could still see pigment there at the end of the day. You know, it didn't wash away or anything. And I really had no irritation. And my eyes are very sensitive. So, I mean, I typically don't even put like pencil eyeliner there very often, just because a lot of it is like touching it that causes watering and so forth. But I do have very sensitive eyes. I've had LASIK twice. You know, they've just gotten more sensitive as I've gotten older, and these did not irritate them. So I have to say that was very impressive. I also think one of the major pros of these twin flames are the colors. She definitely has more colors, and I think that the colors in general, they're just things that I'm attracted to more. I like the versatility of having these lighter, more bright white ones. Again, you can use these as a highlight on the cheek and so forth. And then I love the variety in the shades that she has. Whereas I felt like the Natasha Denona ones were all very similar. There were like 3 of them that were all kind of like that pink and orange and maybe some bright violet kind of all mixed together. Whereas these are definitely more varied, and you've got warmer toned ones and cooler toned ones. So I feel like she did a much better job of having a full spectrum of colors. Whereas even though Natasha Denona only has 5, again, 3 of those I found to be very similar. So I feel like the color selection's definitely better with the Danessa Myricks. And I'm very happy that I picked up the shades that I did for that reason. Now, the Natasha Denona, as I mentioned, it is a thinner formula. And I do think that is a little bit better for mature eyelids, because one of the things that I've noticed with the Danessa Myricks as it dries down, you know, it just accentuates more of the eyelid wrinkling than the Natasha Denona ones do. And I actually think it looks better applying it with the finger than it does with a brush on my eyelids, because you get more of that color shift and then you don't really see wrinkles as much. Whereas if I apply a thinner layer with a brush, then the wrinkles on my eyelids are more emphasized, if that makes sense. So since you don't see as much of that color shift and everything, when you look straight on it, there's no trick of the eye essentially. So it's a bit more emphasized. So overall, though, I would have to say that the Natasha Denona formula is better, in my opinion, than the Danessa Myricks. And the Natasha Denona formula has a few things going for it. One, you've got that level of sheerness that is a little bit easier to achieve. And that's something that I can definitely see a lot of people enjoying. 2, you have, you know, it's just, it doesn't look as wrinkly. So there's that. And 3, for me, it's a plus as made in Italy versus over China. And I know a lot of people have no issues with purchasing cosmetics or skincare from China. I just personally don't always feel like the regulation is as strong there. So while products might be really good, and I feel like usually with new releases, they are very good, you've got more oversight. But as things go on, you know, people tend to get a little bit more lax in general when you are working with a product that's been around a while. And I don't know, it could all be in my head, but it's just something that I personally stay away from. So I have to say, I'm very disappointed that these are actually made in China. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I'll pick up more of these or not, because I absolutely love the color fix. I'm good on the twin flames. I picked up 5. I don't need any more than that. Would I purchase them again? If I could get over the made in China part, I definitely would, because of the colors. I really love the color stories in here. However, I really wish Natasha Denona would just come out with very similar color stories to this. Now, I also have some of the Sydney Grace liquid multi-chromes. I picked up 2 of those. I haven't tried them. They came during all of those holiday releases and I misplaced them. So I will find those and compare those if you are interested. So let me know down below if you are interested in a comparison of all 3 of those multi-chrome formulas. And again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when new videos pop up. Now, as for my overall thoughts on these, overall, I do like them. I think they are fun to play with. I don't think anybody needs 5. And I feel like because of the quantity of colors and the color stories in these twin flames, they're kind of tied with the Natasha Denona, just because I think they have a lot more to offer and I just like the colors better. So I think that's definitely a pro. So I do really enjoy these and I don't regret purchasing them. So they are definitely something that I think is fun to have, but not really an everyday product for me. However, when I'm wearing them, I literally cannot stop looking at these. Now, as for application method, as I mentioned, I prefer using a finger with these. And I do think that even though not having a primer leaves a little creasing, I personally like applying them directly to my lid without a primer, or I like using the Color Fix. Using a regular primer on there, I didn't really find that it added anything to it. It didn't really seem to make much of a difference. So I would skip the primer, go directly on the lid, or layer it over perhaps a matte eyeshadow or something like the Color Fix. And again, these are the matte ones. I actually used Trooper today, which is this one. But you know, if you are looking for just a little accent, these work great as an eyeliner as well. I really like using them as an eyeliner. And as you saw in the wear test, they really stay put for that. So they are fantastic to add a little something. Another thing you can do with these actually is use them on your eyelashes. So I did that by mistake and it looks really cool. So, you know, it's not something I would wear on a daily basis or anything, but particularly if you're trying to do something fun and interesting, you know, just kind of playing around, it is kind of nice to kind of color color your eyelashes like that. So just another little thing you can do with this. I did not try these on the face. You know, I know some of these like lighter shades here as a highlight, they would look good on certain skin tones. For me, they're just a little bit too holographic. So it's not something that I will wear, but again, they technically can be used that way. And just one more time with the swatches. Up here we have Amour, and then this one here is Soulmate, Sweetheart, True Love, Adore You. And then this is Natasha Denona Infra Nude and Natasha Denona Scarab. So as you can see, looking at these swatches, especially here with the Scarab, you can see how that one just shimmers a bit more, whereas these are a little bit more of a I'd say more matte, but I guess more of a flatter matte version of these multi-chromes. And you can see with all of these shades that as they dry, you don't see quite as much of a color shift as you do when they are wet. And that's true for all of these, the Natasha Denona and the Danessa Myricks. So I hope this was helpful, and please let me know again if you are interested in a comparison video of all of the liquid multi-chromes that I have, and let me know what you think of these twin flames. Did you pick any up or are you planning on it? And I hope to see you again very soon. So thank you so much for watching. Again, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy.